because I think
la 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 la
down a cup of it and just put like 3 scoops of sugar in.
That's all I needed to hear. Rachel, you were complaining about a slow computer, and I totally understand. I've lived with PCs my whole life, and now that I'm on a Mac, everything is great. Except for internet. I mean, it's not as bad as you, but running without internet really does suck. But, modem! Rachel, you may notice there is an awesome hat on my head in the shape of a grr. It was made by a good friend Christina, who makes other such awesome things. Link right here. You asked what the one book I would read for the rest of my life would be if I could only read one book, or something to that effect. The answer is A Separate Piece by John Knowles, which is kind of silly because I've only actually read the book like twice, and I don't actually own the book. I have yet to find it in a bookstore, but I will find it. Once I do find it, I will be reading it for the rest of my life, because my life goes like that. I've also been writing a lot too lately, as I told you on Skype, and I was like, oh, maybe I should read something from it. And then I looked at everything, and it's all first draft, and basically it's got a lot of suck in it, and there'd be like good parts that last about this long, which I could read, but out of context they would suck as much as the actual whole thing does. And then if I read the whole scene, there'd be an awful lot of suck in it, so I'm just not gonna do it. So I've been deciding to watch our videos with the subtitles on, you know, the little Google Translate things, and they're hilarious. You should totally watch this video. Maybe right there, maybe over here. So yeah, Google Translate the captions. And I was doing that for a couple of your videos, and I'm increasingly convinced that 2 illegal immigrants are using it as a form of communication. Example, wow. I'm sorry, I'll back up a little. I kind of wrote down some of it from your first video. They're pretty. It's gonna be the first part. And on anything. Just trying to find, Peaches continued. Complicating paint like usual itself. And mom these days. Those aren't the illegal immigrant parts, though. Let me read down. Clinton, one unusual. Units would agree. Pack executioners AP Clark, ES. He and decent for ring. Somebody's getting married. And staying communities that's he care now you can't. Plenary meetings. Here's a tricky one. Jessica commemorate the powder crime internationally panic. What was more incriminating than this was the evidence found in Vincent's part. They celebrated. Lila, about it before, regional, meddle again, will not. No, that doesn't sound very incriminating, but if you put it together with everything else, and the last 2 parts, you probably, well, you might see where I'm getting at, or you'll think I'm crazy. Ecuador in a car. Now, at first I was kind of like, yeah, it might be illegal immigrants, but maybe not. But then the video ends. Ecuador in a car. I didn't do a manuscript of your other video because that would take time, and I was just really bored the day that I did this. I didn't do a manuscript of your other video because that would take time, and I was just really bored the day that I did this. But you'll probably find even more incriminating evidence in the subtitles of that one. I'm kind of excited to see what the illegal immigrants will be saying in this one. I hope it all works out well for them. I mean, I know they're illegal, but they're people too. As long as they don't do any law breaking. And I don't think going to Ecuador in a car is law breaking. So I didn't really put a lot of thought into your question this week, which happens every week and is going to happen every week after this, so just get used to it. But what was your favorite childhood character in TV show and why? Also, I bought Lucky Charms. I am excited. Rachel, I will see you next week. And I'm increasingly convinced that 2 illegal immigrants are using this as a means of communication. And I'm increasingly convinced that somebody is using them as a form of legal communication between immigrants. No. And I'm increasingly convinced that illegal immigrants are using it as a form of communication. And I'm increasingly convinced that somebody is using them to do illegal communication between illegal immigrants.